This is a great interview. It's really uplifting as well, really authentic, and we hear all about wigs, headwear, cold capping, the full story. So let's go to the interview. Over to Sally. Hi, Sally.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. It's not quite so hot today, is it?
No, I think we might have had to postpone if this had been booked for yesterday, because I was just basically hiding and not really doing anything yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, if people are listening to this at another time, it is the hottest ever time on record in the UK, isn't it? And it's,
Yes.
I mean, I'm in Cambridgeshire, and I think it did get to 40 degrees yesterday. Whereabouts are you in the country?
I'm in the Midlands, not far from Birmingham.
And what did you have around 39, 40
Yeah,
degrees?
I think so. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, Italians and other people will just be smiling at us, won't they? Because it's there, but it's not normal for us to have this.
No, and it's not, it doesn't really go with head coverings either. So, that's kind of what we're here to talk about, isn't it? But
yeah.
I've really just ditched any kind of head covering for the last couple of days, hence why I just thought I'd come on like this, because I've got used to seeing myself now like this all the time. So I just thought, let's start like this, and then I can show you a bit later on. I've got my range of my wardrobe.
Yeah, thank you.
On the side over here. But no, it really doesn't go with wigs, does it? Weather like that, and or any kind of covering really. So
yeah, it's just too hot, isn't it? Like you said, it's a real challenge. So have you finished treatment? Because I'm just seeing all little bits of hair.
I've got a bit of regrowth. Yeah, I finished.
Mm.
My last one was 2 weeks ago. So I'm in a nice period now where I feel fine. Haven't yet started radiotherapy, so I feel like I'm on a mini holiday from cancer treatments.
Oh, good. That's really nice to hear. Yeah, a bit of a mini break. Thanks so much for agreeing to do this. As you know, we've already started recording. We kind of are doing this in a really informal way and trying to find our groove, really, and hopefully turning it into a podcast, which always sounds really special. I don't know why, but it sounds really, we're going to do a podcast. So taking the audio, also a video, and really, as you know, the aim is that other people can watch this and just pick up some tips, some ideas, and just we're on a mission, as you know, to share 100 stories. So thank you for joining today. I really appreciate it. It goes without saying that, this is a space that we will chat about many things. And so I will send you the final version. We try not to edit too much, but sometimes I make a mistake, or you might say, actually, I don't really want to, I've just mentioned someone's name. Could we say that again? And, so it's really important because I wouldn't want you to feel uncomfortable. And we might even leave all of this part even in, because I think for other women or males or young people, whoever wants to come forward, I think it's really nice for other people to realise that, you've played a part in it, and you've got to watch it and say, yes, I'm happy with what I said.
Okay, sure.
Does that sound okay?
Yes, that's fine. Yes.
Lovely. So we're going to delve straight in, really.
Okay.
A little bit, really, about yourself, kind of, what you like. Perhaps, I don't know if you're working at the moment or have recently been working, or what your kind of household is like.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. So I'm 42 for starters. I'm coming up 43. I was a teacher for 10 years. So I'll do professional first, then we'll do personal. So I was a teacher for 10 years, and then in secondary school. I've reached kind of the end of that. I wasn't really enjoying it anymore. Took a big leap and set my own business up, tutoring. And that was 5 years ago, and that was going really, really well. And we got through COVID by a lot of hard work. Got through COVID, through everything I had really into the business: blood, sweat, tears. Eat, sleep, breathe it. And then this happened just like that. Out the blue, this breast lump became a cancer diagnosis, and everything just stopped. And I went, wow, wow. It just sort of sideswipes you, really, doesn't it? So I just had to sort of stop the business, put it in the hands of the tutors that I'd trained up, and just go, right, well, that's done. I've got the business through COVID. It's going to have to do itself without me now, and I have to focus on me. So I stopped working hands-on and work behind the scenes, and really have just gone from being really into the business to being really into cancer. And I've just surrounded myself with social media, friends of friends, reading books, joining every kind of look good, feel better workshop available, listening to all the podcasts I could find. And it's become, I was really into work, and now I'm just really into this, and just kind of doing this and doing it the best I can, and trying to make positives out of it where possible. So yeah, work is still going on. That's still great, miraculously. Turns out they don't need me all the time. That was another little lesson. But yeah, I'm here doing this now, and I will hopefully plan to go back to the hands-on role from September, when we're kind of out of active treatment, so to speak.
Wow, so that sounds like you've described it beautifully. You know, it's had one moment you're busy in life and so on. And so when were you diagnosed? What month was that?
It was November. So
November.
yeah.
And were you doing a routine check, or did something really become apparent?
No,
with a lump?
I feel really lucky, to be honest, because I was showering and I noticed a slight change in the texture. That's how I described it. Like, it was slightly firmer on one breast than the other. It reminded me of when I've been breastfeeding. That's sort of like an engorged feeling. And I just thought to myself, that's slightly strange, but I didn't actually do anything about it. And then the next day, exactly the same thing happened. And that time I sort of logged it. And I thought, right, don't forget about that today, because there might be something here. I showed my husband that night. Well, I thought about it all day, kept pressing on it and poking on it. And then by the evening, it was kind of sore. And I thought, have I just made it sore because I've been poking it all day? And then I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I showed my husband, and he sort of said, I don't think it's anything. And I said, well, no, hopefully not, but I'm going to go check, because, you know, you don't know any more than I do, really. So, and my mum had breast cancer in her 50s. So it has always been on my radar as a possibility. A good friend was diagnosed as well, like a year before me. So she's my age, and I didn't just write it off as it's not going to be breast cancer. I kind of thought it might be breast cancer. You need to find out. So I went to the doctor the very next day, and she agreed, which upset me, because I was hoping she was going to say, no, it's nothing. She said, there's something. She said, I'm going to refer you. She said, don't panic. 97 out of 100 women I refer, it will be nothing. I was like, okay, that's fine, I'm gonna do that. But I just knew, you know, I came out of the doctors and I phoned my mum and I cried, and I think then I knew just something. Anyway, I put it on my mind. I got my appointment through. A couple of weeks later, life just kind of carried on in the norm. In the meantime, I didn't really tell anyone, because I didn't want to make it a big thing. I didn't want to make it a big diary date. I didn't want people texting me on the day, how'd it go? I just kind of kept it to myself, my mum and dad, and one good friend. The day came, and I still was very much in the kind of, I'm just going to the doctor for a blood test / x-ray. I told my husband not to come. I said, no, don't come. I said, they won't tell me anything. You can just come on results day. like it was that casual. And I now know it's not that casual, and I would never recommend anyone go on their own, just in case. I cried as soon as I got through the doors of the breast clinic. I just cried, and the lady said, it's fine, it's really normal. We're going to get you some answers today. And I thought, oh, right, okay, I didn't really realise there was going to be answers today. I kind of thought this was just like the blood test and the answers would come after. I didn't realise they could see that much, really. Had a mammogram. She didn't say anything. And she said, just take a seat. We'll call you back if we want to look at anything else. So I'm just sitting in the waiting room, scrolling Facebook. And she came back and said, they want to ultrasound you. And I thought, oh, okay, that's not good. And then I went to the ultrasound, and the consultant doing that said, listen, we can see something on the mammogram that we need to take a better look at. Have you come on your own? And it was when he said, have you come on your own? I just thought, there's bad news, isn't there? And it just carried on. The day just kind of carried on in that ilk. Every little, I imagine it like a flow chart in my head. And every time we got to a little junction, it was like bad news, good news. And it just kept going down the bad news bit. And I just felt totally just sort of like I'd been hit by a bus, really. Came out and just phoned my husband in a voice that I didn't even really recognise, and said, can you meet me at home? Because he'd gone to work. And I could hear myself, and I thought, that's not me speaking. And I drove home. Somehow I drove home, got in the house, and just absolutely broke down, because although I sort of knew it, I didn't really know it. You know, it's so that was November. I had a single mastectomy in January. They told me after a couple of biopsies that that's what they needed to do, but they didn't tell me I'd need chemo, because they didn't know that until they'd done the lymph node biopsy. So that news came in February. So yes. Anyway, I've gone carried away, haven't I?
No, not at all. Thank you.
A whole cancer story.
Because everyone listening to this has got their own story, and but it's really helpful to hear sometimes, God, someone else's story was that quick and that sudden. So many people say, God, I didn't take anyone with me, because you know, it's at the periphery, but you just think, you know what, no, I'm not going to build it up, I'm not going to jinx it by taking someone with me. Or no, you know, you don't know how the process works.
No,
like
you don't know
until you're in it.
And the letter specifically, the letter, it actually even said, please come on your own because of COVID. And it was only when they kept saying to me, have you come on your own? I said, well, yes, the letter said to come on your own. And they said, oh, a lot of husbands wait in the car park. I thought, well, that's all well and good now, but he's 30 miles away and I'm having a biopsy. You know, right?
And you're right, COVID really threw all those extras where before you might think, oh well, I'll get someone to drop me off and pick me up, and with COVID it's shifted how people arrive at appointments. So when did you have the discussion? When did someone say to you, you're going to lose your hair?
Well, I think, you know, in a way I've been lucky with the way around that things have happened, because I sort of had the diagnosis, then I had to wait a couple of weeks before we knew whether it'd be lumpectomy or mastectomy. So I kind of had my head around both possibilities, but I was preparing mentally for the worst of the two, the mastectomy, which I felt was the worst. So when they told me that, I was like, okay, I was kind of ready to hear that, but it still hit me like a hammer blow. So got my head around that. And then I'd done so much reading by that point that I understood the process would be to take the lymph node biopsy, and then I wouldn't know until after surgery whether that was going to need chemo. And I understood that if it was in any of them, then it would be chemo. I also got that if it wasn't in any of them, there'd still be a possibility of chemo because of the, they'd send it off for the oncotype testing, quite likely. So I think I had the surgery the 10th of January and I got my results on the 4th of February. It's funny these dates, isn't it? I'm not sure I'll ever forget them really. So results was the 4th of February, and she said, good news is we've got really clear margins, you know, and your wound is healing really, really well. We took 3 lymph nodes, and we did find some micro cells, I think that's what they say, in one of them. And I stupidly went, 1? Oh, that's not bad, is it? 1 out of 3, which is not, it's not, you know, it's good, but it's not good. It's not good enough. And I still was holding on to this tiny bit of hope that she was going to say, so that's quite good. So she said, so we are recommending you have a course of chemotherapy. And I just cried really, because that had been my biggest fear. I mentioned, didn't I, that my mum had cancer. So she had mastectomy, but no chemotherapy. So that's been my experience of her cancer, was no chemotherapy. And I remember when she didn't have radio either, actually. I remember when I told her about it, obviously, we both sort of said, if it's just a mastectomy, you'll be fine, because she was fine. And that was, I just thought, well, she was fine, I'll be fine. I can recover from surgery. I'm quite, you know, strong like that. I think I'll just do it. I'll get on with it. And I said to her, as long as I don't have chemo, I'll be fine. And then I'm ringing her going, I'm going to have to have chemo. And that was outside of our experience zone. And I was really upset. I cried for weeks, every night. Got my daughter to bed and just sobbed for a good hour over my hair. And I felt really vain about that, because I knew it would grow back, and I know hair doesn't define me, but it really hurt, you know, like it still makes me cry now, remembering how I felt then. If I cry now, it's because I'm crying how I remember how I felt then, rather than how I feel now, because actually now I'm not bothered. but then I was gutted, like properly gutted. I couldn't, and nothing anyone could say. My husband used to try and say things, and I said to him, look, don't say anything. I said, because there's literally nothing you can say that's going to make me feel better about this. You can give me compliments, you can give me assurances, and yeah, I believe you, but I'm still so upset, and there's nothing you can say that will make me feel any different about that. I think something just changed, to be honest. Something just clicked with me, and I just decided, right, I'm not going to cry about this anymore. I'm going to take a handle on it. So I booked with my hairdresser, and I went for a really short haircut. I had hair down to about here, bob, and I'd literally always had that hair. When I look back at photos from sort of the last 30 years, it's pretty much the same hair, give or take a shade lighter, give or take a few inches longer. So it was really like letting go of me, really. And I went for this haircut, and I was so worried, and I took 2 friends as backup, and I came out of it, and I loved it. And I was
how
like,
short was it?
Quite short.
Like an inch or a couple of inches?
Kind of like about that.
Yeah, a couple of inches. And what kind of a tousle-y kind of cut, or how was it?
Vicky McClure from Line of Duty. It was kind of a bit like that, combined with Emma Willis, like a sort of like a bit of a quiff on top, but short around the back and sides. And the time it took me to wash and dry was incredible. I just thought, God, I've missed out on this for so long. Having short hair is amazing. And I felt different. I felt kind of a bit harder. Like I suddenly felt like I didn't just change my hair, I changed my confidence. And I felt like maybe I'd, I don't know, been sort of hiding behind the same haircut for so long. Changing my hair, I was like, oh, if I can do that, I can do all sorts. And I was sort of looking at people in the street with long straight hair thinking, oh, that's a bit boring, you know.
Wanting to go up to them, recommend that they try a shorter hairstyle.
I suggest you cut your hair. Yeah.
That's so interesting, isn't it? What you're talking about, because you know, what I heard you say was you'd had a similar style, give or take it a bit lighter, a bit darker for your whole life. So it's so much more hair, isn't it, than just a physical, you know, hair fabric on our scalp. It means something to everybody. So just going back to when you so you kind of anticipated that you'd lose your hair because you'd done
I knew they said you will. Yeah, they said, you know, one of the side effects is definitely hair loss. So I mean, some people said to me, don't you want to wait and see if you lose your hair before you cut it? I said, well, no, because I will lose my hair. Like there's no wait and see, it's going to happen. And I think that's why I decided not to cold cap, because that made it uncertain, whereas this was certain. I don't really like uncertainty. I kind of like to know what's happening one way or the other, good or bad. I don't like to kind of be stuck in the middle. So I'd read lots about cold capping and I was going to do it. I was. And then I just changed my mind and I just thought, no, I read so much about it that was hit and miss, really, and that you still lose some and it thins it and you can't, well, I might be wrong. So this is what I read. You can't wash it so much. You can't really brush it much, can't style it much. And I'm a real hair fiddler and I used to wash it quite regularly and it got greasy quickly and I didn't like it when it was flat. I just thought, oh, I think I'd rather have no hair than have hair that I can't actually style how I want it. So that's when I decided that I wasn't going to go down that route. I'm also not good in the cold either. Didn't want to drag out the treatment for longer than it needed to be. And I'd heard it's really painful. I'd like to say, I just don't like the uncertainty. I like to be in control. So I didn't want the cold cap to be in control. I wanted me to be in control. So I decided it was not going to happen. That it was going to come off. It was going to go short, then it was going to come off. And that we just deal with it like that, really. And
were you offered the opportunity to have it? Did your nurse offer it?
They do
Great.
it.
That's good to hear. Good. Well, that's an amazing analysis, I think, that you carried out of yourself, because we get so many phone calls all the time and emails from people weighing up the same conundrum that you've just decided, because I think the thing about scalp pulling is it is unpredictable, and that is a big part of it that people kind of suffer through sometimes. I mean, it can be fantastic, but it sounds to me like you went through it and said, actually, for me, it's not the right decision. And I think that's what scalp pulling offers, a possibility of retaining hair, but it is a treatment in its own right. And so, you know, I think it needs people to engage in it with an expectation that hopefully it will retain some of the hair. But you know, there are some people that get great retention, but it's quite rare. So that's amazing. I can tell that you were doing loads of research. And
like I said, it kind of became my job, really. Sort of, you know, like nightly reading and social media and meeting people. And I met two people before I started anything who had just finished their journey or were in their journey, and listening to both their experiences helped me kind of build my own, because it's an experience, isn't it? I kind of built my own experience out of the good and the bad that they said that they'd experienced. Kind of thought, right, I don't want that to happen to me, or I like what she did, you know, and kind of, you know, sort of built my own way through this, really. So,
because we met you came on a cancer hair care workshop, which we do in partnership with the lovely charity Look Good Feel Better. And did you do one of the workshops or two? I can't remember.
Both. Yes.
Both workshops.
Both.
Yeah. And so did you find that kind of helpful? How did it feel to you knowing that there are kind of 50 other women sitting on the same workshop and you can kind of see each other? How was that experience?
Yeah, really good. I've enjoyed all those workshops, to be honest. I think I've done quite a few of them, really. No, it's great. It's really great to share experiences with people and to see other people who are in the same boat as you, because it's quite unusual to have breast cancer diagnosis in my age, really. And it's been really great to meet other people and to see other people, especially who are there for the same purpose. So everybody's there to try and find out about head coverings or hair loss or hair regrowth. So no, I always enjoy them, and I always feel like less alone by the end of them. And that one in particular was a really positive one. I think that one came after my second or third, I think third probably EC treatment. So it totally was gone. I'd only got 2 weeks at that point. I've got more now. I'd only got 2 weeks at that point. And a small range of turban. And I think the next couple of days after that, I went out shopping to Birmingham and just had a really kind of positive day. And I bought 2 more wigs and a couple more turbans and tried on some clothes that I wouldn't normally buy. And I think I just messaged you and said, like, thanks for yesterday, because it really like uplifted me. And I kind of went out there the next day feeling like, okay, I could do this. It's because I was feeling a bit down about the hair. And I think I just went out that day and I just thought, right, I'm going to buy some more wigs. I'm going to buy some more things to put on my head, and I'm going to buy some new clothes. And I love shopping. So, that's what I enjoy. But no, that charity, Look Good, Feel Better, has been amazing. I've done loads of things with them, and it always just helps to just feel like you're connecting with other similar people, really.
Yeah, it's so important. What we love at Cancer Hair Care is working together with charities, because I think it's quite a fine art and often it's not done. And actually it's so lovely to work together, because Cancer Hair Care, often people say, oh, I wish I'd known about Cancer Hair Care, because at the moment we're a smaller charity. And like you described, right at the beginning, you said you felt so vain about your hair. Actually, when we get into a conversation early enough, we're able to say to people, it's not vanity, it's honestly sanity. I say that day in, day out to people, because people just feel there's so much guilt for women, isn't there? There's so much guilt around, oh, I should be thinking about the cancer, my children, my family, and everybody's thinking about all of that. But the thing that's consuming a lot of people is the hair loss. It's such a huge part. And I think what's nice, the positive over COVID, is that we've been able to do this, get online and have 50 people from all around the country on a workshop together. And it's so great to hear that you went out shopping the next day, because that's the best kind of idea, isn't it? That you've got lots of ideas and you've gone off thinking, I can get that. I could buy this, like we talk about key ingredients and things like that. So it's super good to hear that you kind of had that experience. I heard you mention earlier, is it a daughter?
Yes. So yes, I didn't really talk about personal life, did I? So yes, I have a daughter. She's 11. So she's just finished her primary school actually today. And then I have a husband as well, and 2 older stepchildren who are kind of flown away. So yes, it's kind of 3 of us at home all the time. Telling her was really quite hard. I was going to say it was really very hard, but actually it was okay. And I found a positive in that, actually, because I was able to, as I told her, obviously I didn't just come in the door and tell her, I thought about how to break it down and try and simplify it, but still be truthful. And in doing that, I was kind of able to rationalize it a little bit. And that actually helped me. So when I explained why I'd need a mastectomy, I explained that was the best thing to do, because it was definitely going to take all of it. And that I explained what it would look like afterwards. It wasn't going to be kind of like, gruesome or anything. I said, you won't, it's not going to just be a hole or anything, it'll be fine. And I explained that I wouldn't matter, no one else would see, that I would have something in my bra that to everybody else there wouldn't be no difference, really. And then when I explained why I was going to have chemotherapy, I said what the doctor said to me, but in child's language, was that they'd taken it all and they were really happy with that, but because they'd found a little bit in something they'd taken, they needed to just do chemotherapy just to make sure it's nowhere else. I said, so I don't have cancer. I haven't actually got cancer. I said, I'm just having treatment to make sure that I don't get it again, to make sure that it's all gone. And I think having sometimes to break it down into child's language makes you realize that you're telling the truth. I was like, yeah, that's actually true. Okay. So kind of sort of stopped and listened to my own advice to her and thought, yes, okay, what you've said is right. So remember that when you're having a down day, remember that's what it is. And I was saying to her, it's not going to change my personality. It's not going to change how our relationship. It'll just change how I look. And I said, I can buy a wig anyway. I said, no one needs to know. So we went online and bought a couple of turbans. I then also took her to my first wig shop, which was just in a department store, because she was upset at the thought of it. So I took her with me. And I didn't really know I was going to buy one or not. I just wanted to try them on and show her that I would look okay. But then we found one that looked kind of like the bob I had. So we bought that one, and she was happy with that. I think I just wanted to show her that when it happened, I'd look okay, that I wouldn't look strange or embarrassing. She's very conscious of other people, so I didn't want to be an embarrassment, so I think she was quite reassured then that I could look normal when I needed to. She really didn't like, this was the hardest thing, to be honest with you, she really didn't like seeing me with nothing on my head. She really didn't like it. And the first thing she would do in the morning before she would come into our bedroom was shout at me through the door, hat, because I didn't sleep in a hat. She would shout to me, hat. And the first thing I would do before I even opened my eyes is put a hat on. And that was quite painful for a few weeks, really, because I thought, well, she can't bear to look at me. But I kept doing it for her, really. And then eventually that wore off. I just kind of forgot. Sometimes when I was coming out the shower, I forgot, and she'd get used to it. And then she stopped saying it. And now she's lovely. She strokes my head and she's like, oh, your hair's really soft. And so.
That's so interesting how you've described that integration, isn't it? And how she's got used to it, because we speak to a lot of parents, and actually there seems to be a big difference with kind of males, kind of 12 under, and females. We generally find like females need that building support, but they often get to a place, like you said, where they can manage seeing you hair free, whereas some women, for example, with an 11-year-old boy, for example, the child won't allow the parent to pick them up from school unless they know they're going to be wearing their wig, because a lot of women have come through and said, oh my goodness, do you know what, I'm happy wearing headwear or nothing, but oh, my child, I've got all these problems, and we're able to share that experience.
I do have that. This is only in the house.
In the house. Okay, I wanted to know about that.
Or if any of my friends come here, or I go to school, then very much has to be the wig, and it has to be the same wig. I can't just go in like a random short wig or a long wig. It has to be the wig that I usually wear. And only recently, actually, have we been able to disclose to her good friends what's going on, because we took them swimming, and I'm not going to wear a wig when I go swimming. So and absolutely, it was absolutely fine. There was no drama. It's just. I think it was a worry over nothing, really. So then this morning I went to the Leavers Assembly in a baseball cap, because I said to her, this week has been so hot. I said, I cannot wear a wig this week to school. I'm sorry, I just can't. But now that I've got enough kind of bit of regrowth, especially the sideburns, I feel okay now going out. So I bought this cap. I didn't really own a cap, so I bought this cap yesterday. So that's my kind of that's
very
my
nice
at the moment. It's all right. So that
thanks for sharing that, because I think it'll really help a lot of other people to gauge just ideas, because some people go for getting the kids to help them shave their hair off. Some people do it in private. I mean, there's no rule, is there? But it's good to hear different experiences, because then it helps someone else think, that's why they don't want me to pick them up from a play date or from school, because I'm unpredictable, and kids just want predictability, don't they? And I think it's difficult, because even if you've got the most stage appropriate kid, until they're 12 or 13, the empathy doesn't kick in the same way.
I'm glad you said that. I thought it was just mine.
No, it just doesn't, because people say, I'm really shocked, my child has always been really quite kind, but they were really quite pedantic, saying, put that hat on, I don't want to see you baldy, and they're kind of, oh my gosh, that's not my normal gentle child. And it's like, actually, the empathy isn't quite, their brain isn't fully wired like an adult yet. So
I'm glad it's not just me then.
No, it's all true. Did you have, I suppose she would have been too young for, did you get one of our
I think she's a bit too old for that.
Or we've got our kind of dollies for younger kids, but it's difficult, isn't it, because 11-year-olds, they're more like 14-year-olds now, aren't they? I don't know how she is, but they're on the cusp, aren't they?
I think the whole she's not really, she is kind of a more typical, a sort of younger 11-year-old, but the empathy thing, it has surprised me, actually. I thought she might feel bad for me, but I think she just felt bad for herself, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly right. They do, and you kind of think, oh, I thought they were going to be, oh, that's okay, mum. You say, I'm really sorry, I don't feel very well because I've got to do this, that, and the other. They're horrified because they just want their lasagna or the chips. It's Friday,
when I
whatever
say,
it is.
we come in from somewhere, so I'm sorry, I'm going to have a lie down. She's like, oh.
Yeah, so the kids are kids, aren't they? And I think that's the thing about cancer, isn't it? It's kind of like there's cancer and there's kids and there's family and there's bills to pay. And it's that weird kind of state of having this other thing kind of take over for a while. So let's have a look at your new hair then. So you finished treatment
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it did start growing before that. It started.
You were on EC, weren't you?
Yeah, I did 3 EC and 3 docetaxel, and I would say it started growing after the EC and during the docetaxel. Yeah. I don't know why, because the side effects leaflet for docetaxel did say hair loss, so I was sort of surprised why it was coming back during docetaxel, but haven't complained. So you're right, because sometimes when people are on combination chemos, especially EC and docetaxel, it is the docetaxel. Sometimes they've retained a bit of their hair and then it goes. But actually what we know is sometimes with the hair, and especially when it's, when you can see it peeking back through, don't be worried if it falls out again a little bit, some of it, because what happens is it does take up to 3 months for that hair to stabilize. And sometimes people, because I'm trying to look at your brows and your lashes to see how much you've got. Not many lashes,
but they're your own lashes, aren't they?
They're my own. What's there? There's a few without being a lot.
Because they might go, just so you don't panic if they do go, because sometimes it can be kind of, a little bit of hair's going on top and then lashes fall out and people go, oh, what's happening? That first 3 months after your chemo, everything is kind of rebooting that system again. So I mean, you know where we are if you've got any questions. But also for other people listening in, because people will definitely be, it's great that you did a close-up and I did the same, which is really funny. I didn't need to come closer to the computer because you did, but I guarantee you people watching it now or listening will be looking, because, and I suppose it'd be helpful for us to say, anyone listening in or looking, what we expect is within the first 3 months, most people get about a centimetre at least of kind of like a fluffy texture.
It kind of feels like a baby's hair.
You've definitely got that kind of the starting of it all, haven't you?
More to the side.
Let's have a look at the back. Let's have a look at, can you
more to the sides. Let me just turn around then.
Thank you.
You have to tell me when I'm in position.
That's it. That's perfect. Oh, good. Because I can see your lower back hairline is all in place. Thank you.
That bit's quite okay, isn't it?
Thank you. That's really helpful. And unfortunately, this top bit here is always the slowest growing. What would be the fringe? And literally this kind of where the crown is here, if you put a hand here, that area is slowest growing. Often people say, oh my goodness, I've got neck hairs and even facial hair.
I've got lots of that.
Have you? So that facial hair, what you might find is, I think we talked about this a bit on our workshop, what you might find is you get a flush of facial hair. And you can, as long as you do all the correct sensitivity tests, you can use a sensitive facial hair removing cream if you feel you need to. Not everybody does.
I was thinking of having a dermaplane facial, actually. I don't know if is that okay to do?
It depends. So anything that you're doing within the first I'd wait 3 weeks at least post treatment for anything like that, and always do a sensitivity test. For anything like that, as long as you do sensitivity tests, and if someone's checking, you wouldn't want to do anything where there's an open wound or anything like that. But otherwise, some people choose to wax hair off and things like that. And all of that should be fine. The only people that have to be careful is people that are treated head and neck up, but you're not, it's breast cancer. And what you can find sometimes is that initial hair on the face, if you've not experienced that before, once that is taken off, it normally doesn't grow back again.
That's
whereas for some people, so particularly some Italian women or other areas of Europe, they're actually really used to having facial hair, and they're used to getting rid of it, whereas for some women they're not used to it at all, and they've never had it, so it can be a bit of a mystery.
I've always had a little bit, but it does feel like when the light's behind me, it's kind of like a halo around my face, just like the hair.
You can really and of course, because the hair here is so short, it is it's kind of in focus, isn't it? So that can be why as well. You told us you've got, how many wigs have you got now?
I've got 4 wigs now.
Have you? Okay. There's a lovely lady called Natalie who helps actually for my charity. And I remember saying to her, she said, oh, I've got a lot of wigs. How many have you got? And she said, 20, 22.
Oh, wow.
I said, that is a lot of wigs. That's a lot of wigs, isn't it?
There was another one, but I got rid of that one because I knew I'd never wear it. So yeah,
You've got like a mini drawer full.
They're all on these stand things all around the bedroom. Yeah, I had to like take over like husband's bedside as well. So that's I've got these just like around the bedroom.
Yeah, with all your wigs on. Have you got any pets in your house?
No,
good. Because if anyone's listening to this and you're new to wigs and you've got pets, make sure you put your wig away, because they come and they grab them and make friends with them.
Right.
That's your wig journey. Did you have an NHS referral to a wig supplier?
They gave me a voucher at the hospital, and well, I'd already spoken to someone local and she told me where she recommended I would go. So I'd gone there pre-chemo starting and picked out a wig that I thought I wanted. But then bizarrely enough, that was before I got my hair cut. So then I got my hair cut short and I thought, I don't want that wig now. I don't want the bob. So I bought this bob with my daughter in the department store. And I thought, well, one bob's enough, isn't it? You know, I don't really need two bob wigs. I was going to get a real hair one as well, because I thought that would be for the best. But then after I got my hair cut short, I rang up the place and I said, I think I've changed my mind. Have you got some short wigs? So I went back and she said the short wigs don't really, human hair wigs don't really suit a very short style. And she showed me some synthetic short wigs, which I actually bought. And I changed my mind from getting a human one because it sounded like it needed quite a lot more maintenance than a synthetic wig. And I like the fact that it would just stay in its style, wouldn't really need washing very often. And it could be short, and it was also half the price of the human one. So basically got that for free with my NHS voucher.
Great.
And then after your workshop, I went to a different wig shop, and I just found out that this is what else she did for me. Somebody mentioned private health insurance paying out for wigs.
That's right.
And I made a note of it, and I rang them the next day, and they said I could have £300 towards wigs. And I was like, oh, and I thought, well, I haven't got the receipts for the first 2. I'll have to buy some more.
That's great. Yeah, we talked about that on the workshop, didn't we? And said, do check with your insurance.
Yeah, and you know what else they did? They said, it wasn't just that. I said, he said, have a look at your policy. He said, because there's a few things you might be able to claim for. And he sent me the wording of it, and it said £200 towards mastectomy bras as well. Brilliant. Well, I'd actually bought quite a lot of mastectomy bars from the internet on one order. I'd done this thing where you kind of buy loads and then send a lot of them back. So my initial order had been more than £200. So I just sent that receipt off to the healthcare and they sent me £200.
I'm so glad. That's great. That's brilliant.
That's why I was in a good mood that day shopping, because I had loads of money in my bank account.
Hooray! But that's, like you said earlier, that's the importance of kind of joining in. If someone else on that workshop hadn't have mentioned
I wouldn't have thought of that,
then we wouldn't have discussed it. And the thing is with it's like at Cancer Hair Care, we have a massive information website, but you've really got to plow through it, haven't you? And that's what I love about videos like this, because I guarantee you people again will be listening thinking, what was that? And it's if you've got private health insurance, they normally will cover some costs towards a wig, even if you've already bought it. That's done normally fine. And as you found out, other goodies. What about travel? Do they cover any of your travel?
They don't cover travel, but they do pay daily for every chemotherapy and radiotherapy. So that softens that blow as well.
Yeah, great. Another well-deserved shopping spree for all the wigs and turbans you want. And I love what you said. I'm so glad to hear your wig supply gave you good advice, because when people first start their journey, most people, I don't know, you have to tell me if you thought, well, you did, because you told me that you kind of thought, oh, I'll get a replica of what I've got.
Yeah, I was really, when I went, I was not in what I would call the acceptance phase. I was in a kind of, right, I get that it's going to happen and I'm not going to cold cat, but I still want it to look like me. I hadn't decided to cut my hair. I wanted to just look the same now as possible. So I took a friend, and the idea was that I would get something that looked as much like my hair as possible, color, style. So yeah, I wasn't in the kind of phase where I accepted that I could look different with this. I just wanted to just kind of carry on. No one really noticed, nothing to see here. And it was after I got the hair cut, and it sort of freed me from that need to remain unseen. Because getting your haircut's quite radical, especially for me. And so people would know that, you know, that something was going on. So I just thought, I don't need to still look the same. I've taken that leap now. So yeah, when I first went, I was very much kind of going in, you know, no one needs to know I'm here. I just need to go out and just need to come out looking the same as I went in, kind of thing. And I was even planning the day that I would go and pick the wig up. They said, you know, they did a hair shaving service and you could come in basically with your hair and go out with a wig. And it was almost like a seamless transition between kind of old and the new. But I sort of didn't do that in the end. So sorry, what was the question? I can't remember how I started talking about this.
No, that's perfect, because we were talking about that at the beginning of most people's journey.
Oh yeah.
Most people haven't lost their hair before.
No.
People think I'm going to get a wig, which is a replica of my hair. And you just described beautifully, because you weren't in the mindset.
No.
And people aren't.
Wasn't ready for change. No,
wasn't ready for it. But what you beautifully described is, and when we get to chat to people before treatment, we do just plant this seed that you will go through a transition. So maybe think about that if you have a shorter wig, when you then have new hair growth and you come out of your wig, you've already gone shorter. You know, and also the human hair wig, you got really good advice, because the thing is that, again, people think, oh, synthetic wigs are rubbish, you know.
I did that. I thought, no, I want the best money can buy.
I have the best.
Cost is no object, you know.
When you learn that you have to blow dry and style a wig, which is quite hard, and you have to do it often, you can have, you know, a really bad hair day with a real hair wig, whereas a synthetic one are much easier to care for. So that sounds like you were given really good advice, and you've got like your shorter wig, and you've got your so what have you got now then? So you had your original
so the let me I didn't bring down the original one. Could I go and dash and get it?
Please please do.
2 secs. Okay, so this is the first one that I took my daughter with me to buy. So it's a bit of a knack, isn't it, to get them on?
I
always feel like I look stupid at first. So this one has a fringe, which I didn't have, and which was my main sort of bugbear with it. So
having a fringe,
I couldn't really hack having a fringe, and I actually got it cut. I got the fringe cut a little bit, by my hairdresser, and I just never really got on with it. My husband liked this one better than my main one. I was just never quite sure whether to go sideways or kind of.
So this one was very similar to how your hair was.
It was basically this exact length. Yes. So minus the fringe, this is what I look like for 20 plus years.
Can I get you to give me a little bit of a to the side? That's it, so we can see. Lovely. And I get you to look to the front as if we're taking a picture, because I might do a little grab of this. So this is Sally's first wig. Thank you. Great.
So
and I know what you mean. A lot of people say, oh gosh, a lot of wigs, not all wigs need a fringe, but the problem is with a synthetic wig is, unless it's got a lace front or it's a particular design, unlike your own hair, you can't kind of scoop it around. Has that got a lace front?
Not sure.
Have a look inside.
No.
Hold it up for us, show us what it is. Okay, so it's a wefted front. So that means where the hair is attached, whether it's hand tied or sewn in, it can't be manipulated. So that's great that you've got your fringe thinned out, it looks like, because otherwise it would have just
I had it thinned out. It just felt too much, and I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. I just ended up gravitating towards the other one because I'd gone for that shorter haircut. I then felt like it's not me anymore. It's amazing how quickly I got used to having short hair.
Did you?
It was so I took to it so quickly that when I put that one on, I looked in the mirror and thought, I don't like it. I don't want a bob. So then I went and I got, this is my main one. Takes a bit of a shuffling. So still a kind of a bob, but this was as short as I could get without going like what I felt was a bit like an old lady one.
And it looks like it's got a bit more colour in it than your bob.
It's got some highlights.
It's got some highlights in it, and that's kind of giving it a different dimension, isn't it? I love that it's kind of, you know, different lengths. That's really nice.
And I tend to put on a band like this, which I feel just kind of like just makes it look a bit more casual.
It does. And those imperfections, even where there's a bit sticking out here and there, that immediately makes a wig look more real. And then actually what
can
I just do a pretend click. What we'll do is we'll probably screen grab them. So this is Sally, wig number 2. Thank you.
And then what after we spoke, because I like these, but they're really pinch behind the ears after a while.
After a few hours, they get tight, don't they?
So I'd end up going out in it and then just taking it off and kind of having it in my handbag. So what I bought after we spoke, and then you kind of sent me the link, was a couple of these
the wire headbands.
Which are so much better in some ways, but they do kind of like, you have to do them at home. You can't just do it when you're out and about, and if they come off, then they come off. But I do prefer the feel of it, so you
have to kind of get them tight enough and
quite, it has to be quite
in shape tight, don't you? My husband says I look like Minnie Mouse when I do it. Not at all. A very trendy Minnie Mouse.
I can't, hang on, let me just do the mirror. Right. So no, I like these because they're a lot more comfortable to wear, but you do have to go quite tight and then kind of like get them into place.
That's it, twist them. If anyone's looking at this, what that headband is it's a wired headband. And so you can manipulate it and shape it. But I know what you mean. The thing, and then
I'll show you what I'm doing, and then I kind of like go behind and like go around and pull all the back of the wig out.
That's right,
kind of like
get the hair and just shape it around it.
So there we go. And you can obviously just flatten it down a bit, but that's comfier to wear, but it still gives me the same kind of look that I like, which is a bit more of a kind of laid back look. So,
and it kind of brings the wig in here, doesn't it? You know, this is
because they are quite
the area.
And that's what I don't really like about the one I'll show you next. It's quite puffy on top, and it just feels a bit fake, whereas this one, because I can put the band on it kind of and I put a bit behind my ear as well, so it hasn't got that fringe issue as the other one. That
looks great. So I'm just going to do another fake picture. So Sally with wig 2 with a wire band in.
With a wire band on,
Great. Thank you.
Shall I show you the next one?
I know what you mean though. You have to really kind of get those twisted in and almost push the wire down, don't you? Otherwise they can slip. So
when I went, so that was number 1. This is the second one. This is the one I mainly wear. This is the school run one.
The school run wig,
and then the next one was just for on my shopping trip, when I kind of wanted one that was even shorter, and I really liked this one when I first got it, but I must admit I've gone off it a little bit since. I think because it's quite big on top, like we were just saying. Just kind of get it sorted. It looks okay from some angles, and I feel like if I turn sideways, it looks okay in a picture. And I did put a picture on my Instagram, and loads of people voted for this one. And then I think when people see it in real life, they're like, "Oh, it's not quite as good in real life as it was on the picture."
So, do you feel, because it's a nice shape, but do you feel it's a bit too big here? So, do you put any product in it?
I tried. I wasn't really sure what I was doing, and the fringe is a bit heavy as well.
So you could get it thinned out if you want to wear it. The other thing is using a bit of product. So you could, with synthetic wigs, you can use, if you haven't got wig styling products, which you can buy, but you can use, just good old hairspray. But for human hair, you can actually waft a bit of spray and finger it in. Or you can use a bit of serum, something like that won't slip off it too much, and that would just run through, and it just sometimes brings the weight a little bit softer.
It just feels a bit the fringe is a bit heavy. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's a really nice shape, but what you're telling me is for you it's a bit puffy around here, and because what happens is, you see, when you finger it like that, it looks great, but it doesn't stay like that, does it? And it puffs out a bit. So what you might want to do is put a bit of product on it that might help separate it a bit, or even just get it thinned down a little bit. It's a good shape. It looks like, the last wig, it looks like you've gone a bit shorter, doesn't it?
Yes, that's
it's quite a good transition wig.
That's what I thought. And when I grow my hair back, my aim is to kind of stay this length around the sides and the back, but not have a fringe, just kind of, because it was more like sticky up, the short one I had, it was more like kind of like
quiff
that on top. So that's good.
Oh, that's great.
So that's that one.
That's wig number. So we'll do wig number 3.
Hold on. And then this one I just bought on a very big whim, just for something very different, and I kind of liked how it looked. It was kind of, this is for the hair that when I've made an effort, for my going out hair.
So is this different wig shops you're going to, or the same one?
The last 2 are from the same one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it looks like you've just tousled it with a tong or something, doesn't it?
This is more effort. This is more effort than I would ever make with previous hair.
Oh yeah, that's lovely.
Yeah. Hold on, let me just, this one's got a lace front, so I need to just get all the little bits out. Yeah. This is kind of,
oh yes, that's
going
nice
out hair.
Wow, yeah, that's really, I love that. I love the way it's like just twisted. Yeah, that's gorgeous.
Kind of like all different lengths. My mum doesn't like this one.
Doesn't she?
It's not neat enough.
Lovely. No. Oh, let me do a quick, as if we're doing a picture, because we'll grab that off, because that's great. So this wig number four. That's four. Number four. Number four. Here we go. Thank you. And you said this is a lace front, so maybe we could just show people what we mean by that. So there's the lace, and were you told to glue that down?
No.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference. I don't know if we had time to cover that on the workshop you're on. So that lace, sometimes when they were originally made lace front wigs, they were kind of for the theatre, and what people would do is they would put the lace quite low down actually, and then they would put foundation over it and almost stick it down a bit. So that it completely was a flawless blend. Nowadays, what people tend to do is cut it as close as possible. But what can be really good is to use just a clear gel, or you can use eyelash adhesive. You put a bit underneath and you just gently hold it down, and it keeps it in place better around the hairline. Just if you're finding it's not quite as staying in place as you want it to. Most lace front wigs need gluing down. It looks great. Looks really,
so they're
good.
all different.
Oh, that's fantastic. And then
they're all really hot though, aren't they? So I'll take this one off now.
But what have you worn most of the time? Have you been in headwear most of the time, would you say?
I started off in a wig most of the time, and then gradually transitioned away from the wig as I became more comfortable with myself, I suppose. Away from the wig and into headwear really. So I've got two kind of main turbans, but lots of varieties of said too. So these I probably wear these two in equal measure. So this is Edie chops. I've got a few of these.
Edie chops do some lovely, don't they? Really
so
funky headwear.
A couple of different colours of this. So that's kind of
that's a great colour on you.
Yeah. So let me when I bought my sunglasses because
this is your look.
This is my look.
I love it. Right, okay, we have to take another picture. Are you ready? So headwear number one. Great. And I'll get one with your sunglasses off as well, actually. Just for the, and here you go. Click, click. Oh yeah, I love that.
So I like that one.
Really nice.
I've got a few different colours. I've also got a swim one of that as well. So this is the swim turban.
Are you swimming quite a lot?
Well, I know, because I couldn't swim during chemo because I had a PICC line in, and I don't think it's recommended anyway. And then I had it taken out, the PICC line. And then maybe a week after that, I went swimming. I wasn't sure you were supposed to, so I just kind of did it cautiously, kept my mouth shut. And then a few days after that, I badly injured my thumb in a knife incident. So then I couldn't swim again because I had to keep my hand dry. So it's not meant to be, is it?
But it's a great piece of kit. It's a great headwear. Very you.
I've worn it by. We've got an outdoor pool at our gym, so I've worn it by the pool a lot. And then this is the other type of one. I've got a few different kind of variations. So I sometimes wear this one kind of forward facing flower like that. Lovely. And I sometimes kind of just put it on a bit of a side angle. So I've got a few kind of thing as well.
Have you tried that one, putting that all the way around there in the side of the neck? That can look really nice sometimes. Just a little kind of, depending on how
down there.
Yeah.
I feel like that looks kind of. I feel like that.
Does it feel too bare for you?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Can I just get another pretend click with that? How you like it at the front? So that's your lovely piece of headwear. There we go. Click, click. Thank you.
And then more recently, like I say, I've gone on to the old baseball cap. But I did try that before, and I didn't like that when I was totally bald around the sides and the back. And I feel like I'm only just confident enough to wear the cap now that I've got that little bit of regrowth kind of coming around the sides and the back. So
so you quite like your teals and your greens, and I know you modelled for us. You sent us some pictures. Thank you for those.
Yes, I quite like teal.
It was in a teal cozy, wasn't it? And then you'd kind of layered it up with like a wire band and things like that, which is really nice for people to know, isn't it? That you can add layers on things. And
I liked that. I enjoyed that element of the workshop, making me feel like there was more out there than what I'd got. You know, that I kind of because I like buying things and I like new things and to sort of try new things, and I felt like, oh, I've got everything there is. But when you showed us that you can put just like a fancy clip on the edge, or you know, a scarf round it, or a headband round it to change what you've already got, that kind of excited me, and I thought, oh yeah, there's more ideas I can do here. So yeah, it's nice. I like to have lots of things to try.
Yeah, it's just, and it is that, isn't it? It's getting ideas, because often, you know, people go through hair loss and cancer and you think, what am I allowed to do? Or, you know, it's just those tips, isn't it? Like, you know, getting fabric lined hair clips and things so they don't rub on the scalp, and all those little details. So you've shared so much with us. Thank you. I just wanted to ask you, did you have to go to, I'm trying to think your treatment time. Did you start? No, you weren't hair free in November, December. Did you have any special occasions that you went to that you had to think about what you wear, like a wedding or a day or
only just the one? Actually, it was a charity lunch for Breast Cancer Now, and I did a little 5-minute speaking thing at it, and I wore the fancy wig, the one with the thing,
with the cookie out kind of tongue look, tousled look.
I said at the start of talking, I said, so my name's Sally, and I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I had a big thing on my arm, big PICC line dressing, which was the only thing really that anyone had asked me about. In fact, one of the waiters had said to me, what's that on your arm, love? What have you done? I said, oh, well, that's my I said, that's my PICC line, actually. I said, it's where my chemotherapy goes in for cancer treatment. And he said, oh, I'm so sorry, I hadn't realised. I said, that's fine. I said, that's why we're here. I said, we're raising money for breast cancer now. I said, I'm going to do a speech in a minute. I said, but that was the only thing that anyone had noticed. And then when I did it, I said to people, so this is where the chemotherapy goes in. And I said, and this is a wig, and pointed to my hair. And I could hear lots of murmurs around the room going, oh, I never knew. Oh, you can't tell, you know, and and it was, I said, oh, thank you, you know,
Oh God, well done. That's amazing during treatment to stand up and do that and feel that you had the look and the feeling to speak up. It's a great charity, Breast Cancer Now, isn't it? Yes. We do lots of work with them. They're a lovely crew, and so that was kind of the only special occasion you've had to go to.
Yes, I think so. It's been fairly quiet 6 months really. So yes, it's kind of, you're just on a bit of a roller coaster of treatments really. So I think I never really liked to put too much in the diary, because I was never sure that treatment would happen when it was supposed to happen. So I didn't like to kind of have, and no, nobody got married. It was just that lunch.
No dues.
Just the school pickup, and I got the trusty wig on for that.
You got your school pickup wig.
Whenever I go to work as well, which is not that often, but I always wear the same wig for work as well, because I feel like everyone there kind of, children would want to see me looking
have that consistency.
Yes.
And one very last question before I say thank you so much and let you go off to the rest of your day. I'm going to put together a playlist of kind of songs for when you're having that moment where hair loss has just taken over you, but you want to have your tousled wig on. Have you got a favourite song that kind of lifts you up, or you love to get ready to? Is there something that you would?
I'm kind of, I was thinking about this the other day. I'm fairly easygoing with music. I just listen to whatever's on the radio, or whatever my husband puts on. But if I choose my own, then I'll go back a long time, kind of like to my old favourites, like from my youth. So probably something like Reach for the Stars from S Club 7.
Reach for the Stars, it's that one, isn't it? Yeah.
In fact, we go to roller disco occasionally, and I always dance to that one, to much the embarrassment of my daughter. Anyway, she went to her and I taught her the dance as well, and she went to her leavers due on Monday, and she said they played Reach for the Stars, and she goes, I was the only one that knew the dance.
What is happening to a generation? Why don't they know that dance? Oh, that's brilliant. Right, Reach for the Stars is going to be your one. Oh, Sally, thank you so much. It's been,
that's a pleasure.
I really appreciate it. I just think this whole conversation, it's gone so quickly, an hour's just flown by, and hopefully for others, they'll listen in and get some ideas and just, you know, hear your own version of what you've experienced, and that should really help. Oh, thank you so much.
No, that's
really
okay.
Appreciate it.
One final question, actually. When did you say you can start dyeing hair? Is it 3 inches? did you
No,
say?
it's not. And I'm so glad you asked that
Okay.
again, because we cover it on our website as well. We've got a guide. So if you feel like you've forgotten again and it's in a while, basically you need about an inch of new hair growth, roughly an inch. And that inch is from when it's when it's wet, if you can, because the hair stretches when it's wet, you need about an inch.
Right.
It needs to be in a good condition. Now, we don't expect an inch to be super duper, but it shouldn't be like really dry and problematic in that way. And we'd want it to be stable. So that means I don't expect your hair to be falling out, but it's not still falling for any reason. So about an inch, stable, not too dry, and no scalp problems. And as long as you do your sensitivity test 48 hours beforehand, you're good to colour. The only colour we would recommend you avoid until you have about 2.5 or 3 inches of hair is bleach, because bleach works in a different way. What did you normally do? Did you colour your hair beforehand?
Yes.
Did you do it yourself or a hairdresser?
Usually hairdresser, sometimes myself. Yeah.
Hairdresser. The other thing is, I don't know if I said this on the workshop you were on, but I learned this the hard way. Because your hair is a kind of browny colour normal, maybe with a few highlights in, like you said, don't go too dark, because I'll never forget, this is a long time ago, a lady called Alana, and she's let me share this story. And I knew in my heart, but I wasn't as experienced as I am now, having done thousands of colours. Anyhow, she wanted to go quite dark, kind of my colour dark. And I thought, I think she's got this white hair, it wasn't going to look right. Anyway, I did it, and actually she cried afterwards, because she said she looked like a Lego man. It looked like someone had got a marker pen and coloured in, and it was too blocky. So she has, we learn from our mistakes, don't we? So she gracefully said I could share that story. So don't go too dark, because when it's really short, you can't get the different tones. Like the highlights and things, they might be able to put a few things called flying colours on. So maybe a goldeny brown might be a good colour to go for, so it's not one sort of set colour.
Okay, but I think I probably need a few more months, don't I, really, just to get a bit more.
You do. For most people, that is, several months in, unless their hairdressers will quit. And if your hairdresser's got any questions, she can go, or he or she or they can go on our website and look at the section on new hair growth, or just get in contact with us. We talk to hairdressers that are worried all the time.
Okay, lovely. My aim in my own head anyway is by Christmas I will have hair that I just wear, that's just my hair, that my hairstyle, that I'm not trying to cover up or anything. So that's,
what would be amazing if at Christmas you can send us a picture and we can do an update, can't we? We can, and people that are listening or watching this, we'll do. So I'll do one last view with your hair now, and then hopefully any of the stages, if you want to take some pictures, people would love to see once a month, what happens. That would be so helpful. So people will have to tune in and have a look at Sally's
I forgot to say, what I also just ordered off Edie Chops, but it's not here yet, is a headband rather than a turban. Just I'm hoping that as I get more on top here, it's just basically this bit that makes me feel like I look, a bit silly. So I'm thinking a headband that kind of comes around here, hopefully will keep me cool, and also just take away from the old man look for the summer. So hopefully
lovely with the headband, because then as we said, this will be slow, but you have all your hair peeking out like a short crop underneath.
Because now when I wear the baseball cap, people tell me it just looks like I've got really short hair. Because it's hidden that bit, hasn't it? So
that's a great idea. So I'll do one last pretend photo, because we'll pull them all off later. So here's Sally as she is now. Click, click. And thank you, Sally. It's been a real delight speaking to you.
No pleasure. Nice to meet you properly.
And you too. Have a good rest of your day.
Yes, thank you. All right, speak soon.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye.